Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. K&F Concept were kind enough to send me over a tripod to test out, so I thought this would be a perfect excuse to talk about why I think tripods are essential for photographers and videographers, but why I rarely use them. We're also going to review and compare this tripod to my older Amazon Basics super budget tripod and see how it stacks up. And just as a disclaimer, K&F Concept did send me this tripod free of charge, but they have no say in this video and all thoughts are my own. So there are a few main scenarios that I tend to use a tripod in, and in all of these cases the camera is static and doesn't need to move. So the first one is obviously for filming shots like this where it's static and I'm talking to camera in maybe a studio setting. The second one is static B-roll shots where I may be filming myself walking somewhere, or for any other reason I can't hold the camera and I want it to be set up and looking at me because I'm in the shot. And then thirdly is long exposure photography. So they're the main three shots I kind of use. However, in many other scenarios, I actively prefer not to use a tripod. So for example, if I'm trying to shoot a dynamic B-roll shot where I want to have the camera moving, perhaps on a gimbal or handheld, or if I'm doing street photography where I need to be reactive to what's happening around me, then I don't want to have to, take time to set up a tripod, spend 2 minutes doing that, and then the moment's passed. Or I might be vlogging where I want to be moving all the time and a tripod just isn't right for that situation. My main issue with a tripod is that it takes me out of the moment. Obviously I have to set it up, I have to get it the way I want it to look, and that all takes time. It also kind of saps your creativity in a lot of cases if it takes too long for you to do that. So effectively, tripods are only useful when you have a planned scenario or a planned scene that you want to shoot, and you're happy with the camera to be in a static position and not moving in any way. In my videos, I try to be as reactive as possible to what's happening around me and try and create dynamic shots wherever I can. Plus, I think my creativity comes in bursts, and I think taking the time to set up a tripod sometimes burns a little bit of that enthusiasm for making that video you're going to create. So sometimes I just like to turn the camera and film it if I'm vlogging or whatever, just get that thing down that I was going to say, and it comes across much better than if I'd taken the time to set up the tripod and then I'm maybe not as enthusiastic about it as I was when I first started. But saying that, those situations I described earlier where I do use a tripod, you just need a tripod for those situations. You can't get them any other way unless you prop your camera up on a rock. You can't get the framing right if you're doing that. Whereas a tripod lets you get your framing right, lets everything look like you want it to look, and you can just start filming. And in those cases, you need to take the time to set up that tripod and use it to get the best results. With all of what I've just talked about in mind, let's talk about the tripod that K&F Concept have sent me. Initial impressions from unboxing and picking this tripod up for the first time, I could immediately tell that it had far better build quality and sturdiness than my Amazon Basics tripod. Additionally, it's way more versatile and offers a lot of different options to set it up so you can get the shot that you want to get. You can set it up in the standard tripod mode with the camera mounted on top, and it stands far taller than my Amazon Basics tripod. This is important because it allows me to stand while I'm talking to the camera like I'm doing just now. This is something I couldn't do with the Amazon Basics tripod because it just wasn't tall enough for me to stand and talk to the camera. And in this position you do have a hook to hang a weight or your camera bag from, for example, to increase the sturdiness of the tripod in high winds if you're shooting outside. And talking more about the versatility, you can actually adjust the angle of the legs on this tripod into three kind of settings. So you got the standard mode, wide mode, which gives you a little bit lower center of gravity and more steadiness in the tripod, and then you have the flat mode, which has the legs flat to the ground, which gives you a nice sturdy base for you to sit your camera on if you want to shoot low to the ground. And you can also convert it to a monopod by screwing off one of the legs and putting the ball head on top. And this is great if you want to pack lighter and if you only need some basic stabilization which doesn't require the camera to stand on its own. And finally, you can put it into underslung mode where you have the camera hanging down between the legs, and this helps to create some depth and some visual interest in your photos and your videos. Although it does take a little bit of effort to convert it to the underslung mode, it's a nice feature to have. Fundamentally, I think this is a far better tripod in terms of functionality when compared to the Amazon Basics tripod. And the variety of features on this tripod allows you to convert it depending on the situation you're in to get the best results. And now let's talk about the physical footprint, because this tripod is listed as a travel or compact tripod. It has a similar physical footprint when folded up to the Amazon Basics tripod, but bear in mind it is double the weight at about 2.2 pounds or 1 kilogram. So the Amazon Basics tripod is 450 grams or about 1 pound. So it is just over double the weight, but in practice I can't really feel a massive amount of difference when I'm holding them in my hands. But in doubling the weight, K&F Concept have managed to quadruple the weight capacity. The Amazon Basics tripod only has a capacity of 2 kilograms, whereas the K&F Concept Concept is listed as 8 kilograms. But coming back to the functionality for a second, the K&F tripod actually includes a ball head with an Arca-Swiss plate. And what this means is if you have multiple accessories with the Arca-Swiss plate, you can quickly move between those accessories with no hassle. A prime example of this is moving my camera from my gimbal, the Weebill S, over to this tripod, and I don't have to rebalance the gimbal every time I move between the two because the gimbal actually has an Arca-Swiss plate already installed. In contrast, the Amazon Basics tripod has a proprietary base plate, which means I can't quickly switch between my gimbal and my tripod when using that tripod. And also the cheaper tripod just has really limited movement in the head. It's a lot more difficult to make minute movements in the head of the Amazon Basics tripod, whereas with the ball head, you can quickly change your position of your camera without much fuss. So the K&F Concept Tripod definitely wins in the head functionality category. But as with every product on this channel, there are a few negatives and critiques that I have to make about this product based on how I use it. The first one is that it uses a twist locking mechanism for extending the legs. And in contrast to this, the Amazon Basics Tripod actually uses clips. I find that they're far easier for first setting up the tripod. It takes far less time, and then if you want to make micro adjustments to the length of those legs, it's just a lot easier with clips rather than having to unscrew every time and then re-tighten it basically. This isn't a massive deal, but for me, as I mentioned earlier in the video, the time it takes to set up a tripod can be make or break for me in terms of actually using it or not. So it does have some importance to how I use it. And if you also try to avoid using tripods wherever you can, like me, then it might be a negative for you to consider as well. And the second thing is that I wish K&F included a quick release button for you to quickly take your camera off the tripod. Unfortunately, they have a screw mechanism which just takes that little bit extra time, and like I've said, I want to be as fluid as possible moving between my tripod and my other accessories, or just simply being able to take the camera off the tripod to shoot some handheld footage. To round this up, I definitely think this K&F Concept tripod is worth buying. I think it could take a beating, whereas my Amazon Basics tripod already has things that have fallen off it because they're really cheap and plasticky. And talking of price, the Amazon Basics tripod goes for about £20 at the moment on Amazon, whereas the K&F Concept tripod goes for about £80 on their website. But I think it's worth shelling out that extra bit of cash for the K&F Concept tripod just for that durability and for the flexibility and versatility and how it works. It's just much more convenient and a much better tripod to use in my opinion. Saying that, if you do want to pick it up, then I do have some links in the description for you to use, as well as a voucher code that K&F have provided me so that you can get some money off it as well. On this channel, we look at camera gear and tech. If that's something you're into and you want to see more from me, then please hit that subscribe button and notification bell down below to make sure you don't miss any future videos as they come out. And of course, if you like this video, then please hit that like button because it really does help this video get noticed on YouTube. Otherwise, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.